front of others. Our life advancement demands that we do three things if we're going to present our lives correctly. The first thing is to take initiative. The second thing is to give sincere effort. And the third thing is to be empowered with greatness. When I talk about taking initiative, we need to have a deliberate reasoning cause for our actions. When I talk about give sincere effort, we need to put movement behind our energy, a desire, and our will. And then when I talk about being empowered with greatness, it's important that we always are realizing our influence, where our influence is, and move in a way that God can sanction. And so we want to make sure that we're pleasing God not only with what we say, but also what we do. If you have not presented yourself to the world, it becomes literally your obligation to talk it up, to raise it up, to work it up, to live it up, to live your way into becoming the example for Christ you're supposed to be. How is that, Bishop? Well, confess what you see, intercede for it, involve yourself in it, and bring victory out of it. Let me go back and look at those again. Confess what you see. Speak of your future from your vantage point. If nobody don't talk about what God's getting ready to do in your life, you need to be talking about it. Tell somebody, confess what you see. Don't stand back when God's about to bring you victory and act like you don't have victory coming. Then I say intercede for it. Somebody say intercede for it. You got to claim and stand in the gap for the future you want to see. Tell somebody, claim and stand in the gap for the future you want to see. The next thing you have to do is involve yourself in it. You see, if that's what you see, you got to involve yourself in it and finally bring victory out of it. Involve yourself in it. I'm talking about pray and pursue your future that God has showed you, and then bring victory out of it by celebrating your newly born success that you see God doing in your future. I used to make this statement all the time. I haven't said it in a long time, so I'll say it today, that you got to be certain that the best is yet to come, but have your mindset that available, that God's better is available right now. Tell somebody God's better is available right now. And so whatever your obstacle is, whatever it is, break through it because you have help. Come on, tell somebody, break through it because you have help. Don't sit around and whine over what God said you can be free from. Whatever your obstacle is, you got to break through it because you have help. Favor, here we go again with the presentation, because favor makes an appearance. Favor is always ready to make an appearance in our lives. Would you speak to somebody and say, favor is ready to show up in your life? When we consider life, we quickly discover that it can be difficult to navigate through a forest of trouble that is filled with an atmosphere of derision. But an atmosphere of disdain and mockery and disrespect is never comfortable as a place to have to settle your life in. And it may seem sometimes even unfair, but one of the ways that God handles his intention toward us is that he places his intention in areas that we sometimes would never look for it. And he does it on purpose, but he also puts it at the same time where our enemies can't find it. And when God grants us favor, it's way too large and far too heavy for us to try to ever carry or manage by ourselves. Sometimes for us to know its origin, it just baffles us to see how God can be so good to us, because it comes out of his divine capacity. God always finds a way to bless us. I used to make this statement too: my favor has dimensions that my blessings will never know. Share it with somebody. My favor has dimensions that my blessings will never know. Say it to somebody else. My favor has dimensions that my blessings will never know. This puts me in a different posture here, because not only am I in a position to understand that God has me set up to be blessed, but every day your life needs to be targeted for success. Let me say it to you again. Every day your life needs to be targeted for success and measured for increase. You want to have both things going on every day in your life. So don't measure your day by what you're going through. Don't measure your day by what you think you missed. Don't engage your day with lack of expectation. Doing so disrespects the promises of his blessing. Understand God got you set to be blessed, and favor is coming your way. And you need to say, listen here, if it doesn't come when I want it, it's going to show up exactly when I need it. Tell somebody, favor is definitely coming my way. Now, hold on. Now, some of y'all talk to somebody not excited about their favor, so I need you to find somebody else and just tell them favor is coming my way. You looking at somebody that God's about to make some incredible things happen for, and God is going to cause things to come and fall in my favor. Somebody say favor is coming my way. I mean, if you thought you had it good before now, when you see what God's about to do, you can get yourself, embrace yourself for the great things that God has already ordered. Hallelujah. That had not known to man that God has ordered for your life. Tell your neighbor, favor is coming my way. My God, somebody help me brag and tell your neighbor, yes, he is good. He is good. Now, so favor is always ready to make an appearance in our lives. It presents itself. But also understand this. Eternity, although often ignored, still presents itself. I want you to understand this, because eternity is the house that time lives in. Mm-hmm. Say that to your neighbor. Say, eternity is the house that time lives in. Sometimes I speak about eternity, and sometimes I'm not speaking in homegoings, but I'd like to grab on a Sunday morning and help you to know clearly that some reason we treat eternity as if it's shorter than our time, and we don't pay attention to it, and that is a mistake, because it causes us to lose crucial spiritual moments, wasting them on pursuing things that eternity would bypass to get us to what heaven really wants for us to have while we're here on earth. This is why when you know that God has you in eternity, that eternity and time are together, but time lives inside of eternity. Eternity has no beginning and no end that's attached to it, and time has synchronization that's attached to the process of it. In understanding that, if you can get hold of what eternity has for you, you can have eternity interrupt time and cause something brand new to happen in your life. We used to call that years ago Kairos moments, K-A-I-R-O-S in the Greek. Kairos moments, those are the times where those moments that eternity slaps time to change the course of the future. That's when you met somebody that you have in your life now that you didn't even know that you was going to need them in your life before you met them. That's when you have some situation happen where God lets eternity come in and give you some, changes your course. All of a sudden you doing something different than what you originally did, because eternity has everything already set up. Remember, that will be done on earth as it already is in heaven, because eternity goes by a different set of time. It's not running on the clock. Tell your neighbor, it's not on the clock. Understanding this allows me to dimensionally enjoy the perks of heaven right now, even while I'm still here on earth. I can dimensionally enjoy the perks of heaven. Let me say, I can enjoy the perks of heaven. I can get excited about heaven. I can talk about what God can do out of heaven and bless me even in my right now. I can enjoy the perks of heaven while I'm right here in the earth here. And God accomplishes his purposes and his time. But it will not be until we in our intangible form enter into eternity that we'll begin to comprehend his really total plan. But as for now, only when we are spiritually tapped into heaven do we get a glimpse of the infinite world that all believers will eventually abide in. So I believe and expect that God's plan for my life will be my reality. And God lets eternity show up and make an appearance in my life different times by shifting and making a presentation to say, oh, this is what they said you're going to get, but this is what I said that you was going to have. And God knows how to bless you with what he intended for you, while everybody wants you to have what they think you ought to have. Some of y'all blessed today because God had a better thought and a better thing for you already organized. My God. And when God's got something better for you, you can get excited about the fact that they thought this was my end, but God said, no, this is just my beginning. And God can set you up to be blessed more than the eyes can see and more than the mind can anticipate, and bless you in all kinds of ways. I understand it. I love it this way, because what a way to start this journey is because it is to trust that God has a total plan for me. And because that total plan includes eternity, it's important that we always think about being with God forever. Eternity says you don't get a chance to drop me off. You got to make sure that you recognize that you're going to need God for the rest of your life and life after life. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying here. Tell your neighbor, I need eternity. I need eternity. My God, this is not ride and die. This is ride and living. This is the eternal plan. I'm a ride and live. Tell your neighbor, I'm a ride and live this thing out. I'm gonna live like I never lived before. I'm gonna live and enjoy living like I never have before. I plan to live and live and live until God changes the way that he has me moving forward. So, in understanding this, one of the things I have already set up is that I think that we should be in a posture where we put on a full press for what heaven must mean to a believer and step into the position. Don't miss your moment, but take advantage of it. Tell your neighbor, don't miss your moment, but take advantage of it. Say it again, don't miss your moment, but take advantage of it. Because understanding, you got some presentation to do too. God is not giving you all this stuff, putting all this stuff in front of you, giving you all these chances, open doors for you to sit back and just sit back and have a public aid mentality on what God is giving you. You are not no recipient. You ain't got no number. I mean, he said all of us are called servant. You got to be in a position where you say, God, what shall I do that I might do your will more efficiently? You see, the world needs to see who God says you are. Yeah. I need you to say that to somebody. Look them in the face when you say the world needs to see who God says you are. If you didn't find nobody's face, go on, you got one more chance. Look at somebody right in the face and say the world needs to see who God says you are. You see, when we get over what and who we don't want to be and begin to see the great thing God always intended to rise up in us, we'll immediately notice that God's greatness is alive and well growing inside of us. Yes, our call of ministry will expose who we are to the world, while our call to ministry will prepare us for serving humanity. Learning to teach us to dedicate ourselves to purpose and build our ironclad character within us. This path is not designated as an easy expedition, but for those who are designed for longevity in God. And when you're in there for the long haul, you know you got to go through some stuff so that you can become who you're supposed to be. So then for us, there's an importance in learning how to properly and adequately stretch into our future. Tell somebody you got to stretch into your future. Stay attached to God's ultimate purpose, even if your place in faith right now doesn't even present it that way to you. You got to say, listen, whatever God wants for me, that's what I'm going to stick with. Won't you practice right now? Just go and talk to yourself. Whatever God wants for me, that's what I'm going to stick with. Matter of fact,